Hey, asshole!
What do you want?
Get over here! We need you!
Why?
It's time!
Time?
Time for the A.S.SholesOpinion! Hey, Dirk, how the hell are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, asshole?
I can't complain. So what you got for us today? What's on the radar, man?
Well, Trace, I'll tell you what, man. I was, I don't know, just milling around through YouTube, and I came across a couple videos, and I watched them close enough together that I had a couple neurons that made contact, and I thought, wait a minute, what is going on here? And it's pretty interesting, really, that there's so much nonsense going around. I don't think anybody realizes when somebody's double talking. And I'll tell you, I'm not for or against any candidate, but this Kamala, she's got some problems. Either her writers or somebody aren't giving her the straight dope here. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, Trace, I got carried away.
She's got a ton of shit in her past that they just can't seem to cover.
She's nuts. But so I found this little girl, and this guy, JLR Investigations, had interviewed this young lady, and she has some really interesting information about Haitians and gun sales, at least in the area she's at. And what she says, there's some comments that almost leans itself to, that's probably not the only place. But yeah, whenever you're ready, we'll take a look at this, and we'll come back after and see what we can find in there that's really interesting.
Alrighty, so we're going to roll you some footage.
I'm Libby.
Libby, you agree to be videotaped?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And what were you? What is it that you do?
So I no longer do it. I ended up leaving the job, but I used to work for a gun store in Springfield, Ohio.
And how recently was that?
This was last year. It's been within the last year.
Okay. And you left them about 2023 or sometime in 24?
It's been about 10 months since I left, so yes, 2023.
Okay. And what were you telling us about gun sales to folks that were undocumented?
So when I worked there, we would have about 10 to 15 Haitian men come in every day. Normally it was just one in the group that would try and purchase a firearm. Most of them did not have U.S. IDs. They had Mexican IDs, and other countries I'm not really sure, but the most popular was Mexican. And they would come in trying to purchase firearms, and I was told that I had to process the sales just like everybody else, like I would any other customer. And I would, and they were going through just fine, even though they weren't U.S. citizens, so I would have to put them on the do not sell list so they were not getting firearms.
Okay. And so that's not supposed to happen.
No,
right.
No, because I was having U.S. citizens getting put on the do not sell list because they lived in a house that somebody who had lived there before had been on the do not sell list, so they were not allowed to purchase firearms.
Okay, but these were all going through?
Yes.
And you put them on a do not sell list, and then what happened?
I was told I was not allowed to do that because it was something with the Second Amendment.
Okay, and how many firearms do you think you sold during the time you were there in that situation?
Probably 40.
Okay. And usually groups of people, but one of them would try to get a gun?
Yes.
Okay. And anything else you want to share, or things that you noticed when you were there that...
Just that there would be large groups. I had one incident. This gentleman came in, and he did have a state ID. That was the only one that I had that had an Ohio-issued state ID. It did not have his current address on it, and this was my first issue that I've ever had with them. It was the first customer that I had that was Haitian. And I asked him, is this your current address on the license? Because that's something we have to ask everybody. And he said, no, that's not my current address. I said, okay, then I cannot sell you this firearm right now. You're going to have to go to the DMV, get a change of address form, and then we can proceed. And then he looked at me and said, I'm just kidding, that's my address. And I told him, well, you already told me you don't live there, so I can't proceed with this transaction. And I got cussed out. He tried to physically take the gun out of my hands. And then my boss told me just to process it. It wasn't a big deal, even though if it was anybody else, I couldn't have done that. So,
do you think that the gun stores are getting pressure, or how is it that they're approving all this stuff?
I genuinely, I have no idea. I do know that the store that I worked for, we were told we had to process it. I would call all the other gun stores in the area and tell them what was going on, not to accept it. And so I ended up having to call about 3 to 4 gun stores every time we'd have that issue.
Almost every day?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say?
I probably shouldn't.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate your honesty and willingness. And we'll get this out and let the word get out to folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Trace. Yeah, I mean, here we are again. Buddy, I'm telling you, the information that came from that one young lady, that's enough to make you think, right? I mean,
absolutely. And what I think is puzzling to me too is after watching the video, I thought, all right, well, let me, and having been watching a little bit of news here lately, I Googled it. Problems in Springfield. There's no problems in Springfield. There's nothing to see here. Of course, the governor says there's no problem. The police chief says there's no problem. The mayor says there's no problem. Yet you've got these videos on the internet saying otherwise, right? And I mean, where's credible information, right? I mean, it's sad that you have to have boots on the ground to really get some truth. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, this is pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, the fact that, you can get you, me, or anybody else that lives in this country, were born in this country, and there's some kind of mistake on your license, and you go there, or you're from another state. Everybody knows there's different laws in different states and all that stuff. But a Haitian with Mexican identification can just go in and purchase a firearm. We have waiting times. There people like in New Jersey and New York, there's weeks and weeks of waiting times. And this is just crazy. And let's face it, this little girl is in a town in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I'm not thinking this is any metropolis that she lives in, and she's being instructed to push those sales through.
I have 2 questions right off the bat. Why in the hell are there 15 to 20,000 Haitians in Springfield, Ohio? Which,
right.
Again, I had to do a Google search because I was pretty sure I knew where it was, but I wasn't certain. And it turns out it's right in between Columbus and Dayton, a little bit strategically placed. But, like you said, I, as a citizen of this country, am not allowed to legally own a handgun in my state of residence because of something I did as a stupid teenager, right? But yet, here's a non-citizen walking right in, getting a gun, walking right out. What the hell is that?
Thing is, these guys, they don't even know if they're legal, illegal. Where did they come across? How are they here? And that's something I think you and I should look at is how are these people here? Because there was another town in Pennsylvania, that Charleroi, and it's all the rage right now with. There's a bunch of Haitians going in there, and the people in the town, and again, it's a town of so many people, and they're doubling the population, bringing people in. Your tax base in that area can't handle it. You're overwhelmed instantly. These people aren't contributing. You're providing housing, food, medical. You're just providing everything. And you're most likely, because you live in a small town, struggling to take care of yourself and your family. However, how are they getting there? How do Haitians come into this country and they find a little town of 15,000 people? I don't know how many people are there. In the middle of nowhere again. How do they find that on the map and pick it? Hey, let's all go there. So what is the selection process for this? I'm thinking it's not coincidental.
No, not at all, brother. No, it's not coincidental at all. It's just alarming that they keep coming and they keep coming. Again, why are they here? Well, your local politicians and, the spin is on. Nobody wants to look bad. So again, it comes back to that, there's nothing to see here. You know, and then if you look again, oh no, they're all working. They're here for the great jobs. They're working. They're making money. They're paying taxes. No,
Right.
you're lying. Like everything else coming out of your mouth, you're lying, right?
Right.
The governor has already earmarked $2.5 million for medical care for just this month. Where's
Gee.
that coming from? Who's that taking other resources from? Or are we just going to continue to print more money and then go after grocery stores for gouging prices? Because it's not our inflation that's doing it. But I digress. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, we're obviously going to have a few pieces on this stuff. Try to sort the thoughts out, sort the our words out, because apparently I can't use them right. But yeah, we're going to need a few more shows, I think, to kind of churn through this mess and try to sort some of it out, because there's just too much nonsense. But like I said, you know, with this video, now we've heard from this little girl, I apologize, this young lady, Libby. Now, she's being told to reiterate, let the gun sales go through. They're Haitians with Mexican identification that who even knows if it's right. They don't have addresses here. Really, only one guy had Ohio address. So they don't even have addresses in the United States. But they're being told to issue firearms to these people, no questions asked. And that is going to lead us into our next clip. And Trace, I'll tell you, after seeing that and watching this next one, if it doesn't keep you up at night, you have a sleeping disorder.
No,
You sleep too much.
absolutely. And brother, real quick, you know my number one thing that keeps me awake at night, and this kind of ties into it. And we're going to do another show on this one. You know, I'm working the statistics and whatnot as we speak. But Springfield, Ohio, is about 40 minutes from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. What should keep everybody in this country awake at night? What do we got? 20 million immigrants from all over. 80% of them, I think I have the statistic right, are military age but young men.
Yeah.
Let's just say 1 million of them, of the 20, are in this demographic that's not good for us as a country, us as a people. You now have a standing army. There's 1,000 Haitians, not saying there are, and I'm not being inflammatory. Think about this for a minute. There's 1,000 Haitians with guns. They overrun Wright-Patterson Air Force Base front gate because they're not equipped and ready to handle a 1,000-man strike at the front gate.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Think about it. Anybody with a military background, contact me if I'm wrong and set me straight. But tell me that this isn't something we should really be thinking about. And anyhow, on that note, let's roll to this next clip, brother.
I am not going to say anything else because you talk so much. Let's roll this next clip.
You know what? I ain't got shit to say from here on out, brother.
And hear from the queen of misdirection. Here we go.
We need universal background checks, which, to your point about handguns, is about saying that it is just reasonable to want reasonable gun safety laws that say we should do background checks, that we ought to know. It's just reasonable. You might want to know before someone can buy a lethal weapon. If they've been found by a court to be a danger to themselves or others, you might just want to know.
And respectfully, we do understand that.
But you're asking about...
I'm asking specifically about handguns, because many of those handguns aren't purchased in places.
Universal background checks apply to handguns.
Yes.
They do.
But in many instances, those handguns aren't even bought lawfully. Yes.
Which is why I also have been very adamant for years. In fact, I myself protested at a gun show probably 10, 15 years ago about the gun show loophole and why we need to close that. Because what ends up happening is that gun shows at flea markets, gun dealers are not, under existing law in the past, required to register their sales. And so you are exactly right that a lot of homicides, for example, a good number of them, I don't have the statistic in front of my mind. Tim Walz is a gun owner, and we're not trying to take anybody's guns away from them. But we do need an assault weapons ban.
Yeah, didn't she just pardon 100,000 or
But
300,000 Haitians in this country?
universal background checks. We want to know who's getting these guns.
Trace,
Really, borders are?
it includes handguns. Make no mistake, it includes handguns.
And we need an assault rifle ban. But really,
Yeah.
Kamala, you're the borders are.
Yeah,
All these people getting guns and they're not even citizens, but yet we need a universal background check for you and me. Screw
so
you.
guilty of this all happened. This all came about because they wanted it to.
Sure.
I don't know how many people out there might realize, and we're going to get right back to this gun thing because this is such bullshit out of her mouth. But, you know, when there was a certain number of migrants in this country, and they were all sent to these cities. The Democratic Party, applied to have the electoral votes split in those states so they could have more electoral seats.
Oh, yeah. No, that's.
I mean, it's just that's criminal. What is that?
Well, and the fact is, they both do it, though. All that gerrymandering bullshit, they're both thick as thieves, no good bullshit. But
yeah, it's just common.
I'm not sure how much longer it was after this one on Oprah and said somebody breaking her house, she gonna shoot them.
Yeah, it was after
this gun safety. How's that work?
I didn't watch the Oprah thing yet, but from what I understand, it was a joke.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just a joke. It's like everything else. She gets a there's been reports. Is it true? Who knows? I don't know. But that she gets a copy of, maybe not the exact question, but questions close enough. And, anytime she's interviewed, they're expected to give her a briefing of, what is going to come up and this and that. Anybody can look like a star if you give them the answers.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, it's crazy.
Brother, they've been polishing that turd for the last 6 months. 8 months. That's a well-polished turd right there.
How does anybody forget the last 3.5 years and you haven't heard nothing out of her?
Well, how does anybody forget her start in California? I mean, if you really want to know, do a little digging. This is the queen of hypocritical. Man.
I mean, it is really a shame. And I'm not saying there's any party out there that's perfect. What I'm saying is, it's all this craziness. What do? You pick the high points. We've been fighting about the same things for the last 100 years. Guns and abortion. How many jobs are created? Well, guess what? The hedge funds are in corporate America is taken over. They don't want employees. They want as few employees as they can have. But nobody brings that up, and there's just so much wrong in this whole nonsense that if you vote for me, I'm going to fix it.
Yeah.
Well, didn't it get broken while you were in there?
No, it was Trump's fault because he didn't vote for the bipartisan congressional legislation that was doomed from Jump Street. He didn't vote for that. Oh, wait a minute. Why didn't he vote for it? Because it had Ukraine and Israel funding attached to it. What the hell did they have to do with it? That's why he didn't do it, right? So, but she's blaming him. It's his fault.
I don't pick out all these finer points when they're beating it over your head, saying, "Well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, or you did this, or did." No, nobody gets down to the finer points. All they do is try to put enough out there to gain the popular opinion and to garner all the public opinion they can, and it's cheap. It is actually just cheap, and I think our government has fallen way to the side here.
You're absolutely right, brother, and we need to remind everybody that this is an important election, but we can't stop here. We got to continue because it's the other assholes, shitheads they've got to go too. We need to clean house and start fresh, to take our things back, to get our country back, all of us, to get a good life. We don't have good things because of those nut jobs in Washington and bad policy.
Nobody wants to, look at that Constitution because, well, it's an old document. Yeah, it was a long time ago, 1751. Wow. Does that even matter anymore? Well, it's the principles of our country. This is what we were founded on. This is what we've always followed. And when followed correctly, it works.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
We the people.
We got rights that says you can say things that you want to say, even though there's a lot of people out there that, well, they're uncomfortable, so they don't want you to say things. And somehow they gain a foothold in making you not be able to say those things. There's the Second Amendment, which, it's plain that your right to carry a firearm should not be infringed. But every state's different on what they require. How is that? But yeah, like I said, there's so many things to dig into. And like that Constitution says, Trace, I'm telling you, we the people, by the people, for the people. That has to be how we start to operate in this country. And I'm talking about the people out here. We need to run the government, not the government run us.
Oh, absolutely. That's the only way we get a good life, or the American dream back. We've got to claw it from the technocrats and the bureaucrats. Anyhow, anything else you want to fork in this thing? It's done.
All right, yeah. Let's put a cap on this video. So,
all right. Well,
hopefully you watch this.
Go ahead. I'll talk too much.
Yeah, so if you watch the videos, you kind of got what we got, I'm sure. It's a young lady who has nothing to gain by telling a bunch of untruths about the situation she was in, selling these guns to, Haitian migrants. Legal, illegal, we don't know. Nobody knows. And she gives an example of an American who they lived in a house previous to this person, but the same address, it came back as a do not sell. And then you hear Queen of Misdirection say that we need gun checks and background checks on everybody. Shouldn't we know? Yeah, we really should, Kamala. We should. So, Trace, I'm done talking. You got any more words?
I got nothing, brother. Have a wonderful rest of your day. America, thanks you for watching. And click like, subscribe, and we're going to have more for you. Just keep an eye on the channel.
Yeah, hang out with us, man. Yeah, we got a long way to go. We'd like to have you along for the ride with us. We're out.
See ya.
See ya.
Hey, asshole. Thanks for watching. Hit us up. Let us know what you think. There's plenty more where this came from. Click like, subscribe, and stay tuned in. Become part of the A.S.SholesOpinion. Well, that's all, folks.